Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. My name's Connor Jones. I'm your host of your Business Tech Podcast with Loyalty. This month in July, I have Will Robinson here with me. He's at ESOP Partners now, but you might know him as the insurance guy. But today we're going to be talking about different networking tactics, some sales strategy and sales education, and then also what Will's up to now. So, Will, do you mind introducing yourself to the viewers?
Sure. Thanks, Connor. Appreciate the invite to be here. This is, like we said, kind of a full circle thing. We've known each other for probably 6 or 7 years through a training that we went through. But yeah, excited to be here. Will Robinson again. I'm a business consultant with ESOP Partners, and it's kind of been an interesting journey. I spent the first 10 years of my career in talent acquisition and retention, moved over into employee benefits and risk to help protect those people that we helped build, and then their assets as well. And now most of the business owners that I've worked with over the years are coming to a thought of what's next. And ESOP Partners has been a really good transition to be able to help them with that succession planning. So Midwest mutt, I would say. I've been around the Lake Michigan circle in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois my entire life. And Green Bay has been an awesome place to live since 2009. So grateful to be here. Thanks for the invite, Connor.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. It's funny that you mentioned that you're almost following these people in the throes of their career. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like how for my generation, like Miley Cyrus was Hannah Montana and then became Wrecking Ball Miley, and then now she's doing like folk stuff, follows the transition of what age people are at. So it's cool that you get to do that with people. But to kick us off, I've told a lot of people, I even mentioned this in the last episode with Kristen, that the way I network and try to meet with people and bring value to people is completely based on stuff that you've shown me and taught me over the years. Could you kind of start the conversation on why you network the way that you do, and then we can kind of riff from there?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you saying that. The cool part about whether it's networking or for me, jiu-jitsu, recovery, faith, any of the things that I've done over the years, I didn't invent. Someone else taught those to me. So that's kind of part of my purpose at this point in my career, is passing that knowledge on that helped me get past some obstacles, overcome some things that held me back, et cetera. But yeah, it kind of goes back to 2000, probably 13 or 14. I was still kind of new to the area. And if any of you work in Green Bay or any of the communities in Wisconsin, it's kind of hard to get in, and you stay a transplant for quite a long time. So about 5 years in, I met with one of my now mentors and said, I'm professionally persistent. Things are going well, and we're able to build some clientele with this staffing company that I worked with, but I just really don't feel like I'm part of the inner circle. And he's like, okay, well, tell me a little bit. We'll say his name is Greg. Tell me a little bit about your process and how you develop business. And I told him a little bit about it, and he's like, well, you sound like a staffing vendor. You don't sound like a partner. Or a resource. And I'm like, okay, so tell me more about that. And he said, well, every time something hurts or something's uncomfortable or a problem needs to be solved by someone in the business community that's the decision maker, you need to be in their top 5. And that kind of changed since then, kind of how I approach, I would say, traditional sales into being more of a connector to problem solvers. And that's kind of continued throughout my career. So every opportunity I get, I try and meet with people or go out and be in the circles or events that they're at and learn about what problems they solve for the community, whether it's personal or professional, and who can I connect them to solve the problems that I'm not an expert in, but can still create that connection to the end result of making people's lives easier and businesses stronger. So
that makes a lot of sense, especially when you're, as a salesperson, you can either fall into the mold of being a salesperson, or you can be a value creator. And I think being able to provide connections that don't even benefit you necessarily, like that goes a long way to show people that, oh, this guy's serious. He cares about the community. He cares about me. He cares about himself enough to go out and make these connections. And it's interesting that you mentioned it takes a lot of time to feel connected here. I remember, I can't remember if you know Wendy Roberts or not, but she owned Quality Assured when you and I met.
Yep.
And everywhere we would go, she would know someone. They would like come into the coffee shop and like, hey, oh my gosh, it's Wendy. I can't believe I get to see you. And I'm just sitting there, this transplant from Indiana, going like, when am I going to have this? And yesterday I was out with Melissa Borowitz, who's at the UTech group, super great woman. She and I were getting coffee. And Ryan Orvis from Ash Robin on Bowling Alley comes in, and I'm like, dude, Ryan, it's been forever. But that stuff happens now because I took the advice of just be in people's heads in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Melissa is a former podcast member too for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great at it too, and come up through a family business and provides a lot of value for businesses all over the state too. But yeah, so those circles just kind of start to happen. And, for me, focusing on just being first when it comes to like meeting a new person. I call it like getting the flywheel turning, which I stole from Good to Great. But the best way for me, people can say like, you need 5 networking partners or 1 in each area. And I'm like, I don't think so, because there's a lot of folks that can't kind of deliver on what they say. And the best way for me to get to an expedited answer of what that's going to happen, what that's going to look like, is meet with somebody, just say, who are you trying to get in front of, what audiences, what professional partners, what kind of companies, what companies specifically, and who can I make an introduction to for you? Because that's half the battle, is somebody that they already know, like, and trust, whether they do business with or not, saying it's worth your time, which is the only thing that we can never get back, to take 30 minutes, learn about this person, and have them in your back pocket. So that's one thing, being first. That doesn't mean meeting with somebody once a year. That means like consistently keeping them top of mind, and it kind of naturally, organically happens if there's a mutual back and forth with the connections and the value and the that. But it takes. I almost look at that as like prospecting a specific business is you have professional partner prospects, and then you have business or client prospects. But the consistency is key, and always trying to figure out how you can add value to their network, or kind of expedite their process of getting to whatever their objectives are in their role. That's where you kind of figure out fast who's gonna kind of make it a mutually beneficial
who's gonna reciprocate, because
relationship.
it doing it this way, I've noticed for myself, it involves a lot more selflessness than I have. I mean, obviously being a Christ follower, we're called, like being Christ followers, we're called to be selfless in what we do, not think of ourselves. We're all still pretty selfish though. And in those relationships, it can be pretty vulnerable, where it's like, well, okay, yes, I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z and not expect anything in return. But if a year goes by and it's like, it's a one-way street, then you're like, okay, I'm going to unplug from this a little bit and then see if another relationship might work out to be mutually beneficial.
Yeah. And like I said, I think if you're not too concerned about kind of a tit for tat, quid pro quo kind of relationship, that separation happens organically, because you kind of automatically start thinking about that person less, and then you come across somebody else that's, so, and it doesn't have to be like anything negative or like starting or stopping or anything, but I feel like, that selfless nature of getting outside of just like what's in it for me when I was in the staffing or the insurance world, or now the succession planning and business growth world. Just thinking of, again, how can I connect this person to people who have problems they can solve? And that's something that the universe, or, God's plan, whatever it is, brings things back in your direction. But not as much as if you're expecting something in return. Yeah. So,
yeah, for sure. You mentioned something that was pretty interesting before we hopped on. We were talking about like what brought you to ESOP Partners, and just this employee ownership mindset and how it actually factors in really well with the way that we do networking together. Like, we have to be selfless. We have to be bought into doing it, and we have to do it because there's value not only for ourselves, but for everyone involved. You were talking a little bit about how you didn't necessarily have that in other places that you've worked. Do you want to expand on what brought you to ESOP and why you're so passionate about that now?
Yeah. Again, just kind of asking for direction every morning, and then kind of working through part of God's plan for me. I've just kind of become somebody who's worked as a member of a team. You know, I have always been in a productive role, but trying to give everybody in a company that I work with access to wins, and kind of the mindset of when everybody wins, or when anybody wins, everybody wins. Not necessarily as a competitive athlete and a salesperson, what's in it for me, but yeah, not worrying about who's taking the credit, and not tallying up, who's going to benefit from things, and looking at the bigger picture. So it was kind of a fortuitous connection, but it happened at a time where I was kind of realizing that I was trying to set up an employee ownership mindset in private companies, and curious as to why I was beating my head against the wall, because it's a different animal. And not only is ESOP Partners an ESOP, so I was able to join a company where the more that I do, the more that I help them grow, the more that I help them acquire new talent, I get something out of that as an exit strategy.
Almost more than, I mean, not even almost, more than if you were just a salesperson too. Because like, obviously I have that kind of buy-in at Loyalty. The more that I sell, the more I benefit, the more the company benefits. It's great, but there's no stake in it. The stake is the compensation. Yes.
And yeah, it's not to get too far into it, but it's an additional benefit that ties into the total rewards conversations I was having in the benefits world, and all the way back to how does that part of what you're doing differentiate your company as an employer of choice. So it was just it's very aligned. But
I mean, dude, it ties everything that you've ever done together. Like it really does.
Yeah. And no coincidences, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed a month into working here, I'd already known about ESOP Partners, so I had a comfort level there. I'd seen the explosion of the ESOP concept starting to infiltrate Wisconsin businesses, and I knew my leader, who was brought on to help scale the company for 10 years. So it was of a no-brainer to have the conversation. But what I realized when I got into the industry is I was at a conference about 4 weeks probably in, had a 4-day conference, national conference down in Milwaukee for NCEO. And there was a lot to learn, first of all. So that was exciting and kind of daunting.
I'm sure it was like drinking through a fire hose, like stuff just, information overload.
Yeah. And well, they're not just, ESOPs can be used in a variety of ways for succession planning, but also inorganic and organic business growth. I didn't know that before then.
I didn't know that until you just mentioned that.
Yeah. So, and that's the biggest gap in the market. I think especially for the Wisconsin or Midwest nice mentality of business owners who have built these things that are almost like their children for 10 or 20 years or 30 years. They care about what happens after the sun sets. And they want to kind of be a part of building the transition between what does it look like today and what is it going to look like when I'm not there. It's a really cool setup where, again, you create and change lives through employee ownership with a group of people that you're loyal to first of all, because they helped you build it. You maintain legacy after the sale because you're part of the control of that.
Yeah.
And then the community impact is a lot different than some alternative options for succession planning. And it's not right for everybody. It's different. But it aligns really well with my moral compass. Yeah. And I've, in 4 months in, being a part of an ESOP and getting exposure to this kind of movement in employee ownership, it's just a different animal that's very aligned with kind of the other things I've been trying to accomplish in my life. So
yeah, that's
exciting.
so stinking cool, dude. Like I love that organizations like the one you're at exist, because it does take away from some of the companies that are like out in Massachusetts coming and buying organizations here. Not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I get it. There are business owners up against the wall. They want to get the most money that they can for what they built. That's fair. That's fine. I prefer to have community businesses stay community businesses though. And maybe there's some selfishness in me for that, because like I do sell IT services here, and the minute that they get bought by a Massachusetts or New York company, I can't sell services to them anymore. But also, I like the idea of people here getting rewarded for the stuff that they build. And I think it's awesome that you're doing that. And it's kind of funny, too, that I don't know if you knew this before you joined ESOP Partners. ESOP Partners is a client of ours. So, like, you've used our help desk now, which is crazy. Like, all these years of you trying to work with Carrie, or Carrie trying to work with you and trying to make things happen, it just organically happened where, okay, cool. Now you're you're a client of ours. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, and I got there and opened up the laptop, and I'm like, I know loyalty.
Yeah.
So we got a history there, which was cool, because there's been opportunities where I've tried to bring in loyalty, either introduce you to clients or make you an option at the companies I work for. And also, there's a marketing agency, Whitert Group, that we work with.
Oh, yeah.
That I've tried to work with for like a decade, and they were already a part of. So,
oh, that's crazy. That's so fun.
And they became an ESOP after they started working with ESOP Partners as their marketing engine. So,
wow.
So a small world again, full circle, but yeah, Loyalty's a great partner of ours, and it was just kind of cool to see the dots connect and the stars align once I got there.
No coincidences, man. I hate that word. I hate the word coincidences, because they don't exist. Yeah. But completely pivoting here now, because I mentioned that we would talk sales a little bit here.
Yeah.
I know you love to educate yourself. You give me books to read and stuff too. Like, what are the most influential sales educational tools that you've had? Like books, podcasts, whatever. Like, what gets your engine going, and how do you learn from them?
That's a great question. And that's actually been part of my recovery journey, which started in 2014. I realized that I had a lot of years where I had kind of dampened my knowledge, or my appetite for learning. Yeah. And I started reading a lot. And when I started reading, I was like, well, what am I involved with? Business, sales, leadership. And now since then, well, recovery, also faith. So I've kind of got a smattering. I have to kind of remind myself to read for pleasure sometimes, because all of it can't be knowledge and fun. Because it feels like you're always kind of working. But I wrote down a couple things for specific books, and probably some of them I've shared with you. But again, they were introduced to me, right?
Not like you just randomly went to the library and like, oh, this one looks good, and you pick it up and you start reading. No,
I think that's one of the most valuable things, beyond making business connections or connecting someone to Christ, or recovery, is helping someone learn through books that have made an impact on you. So
that's the main reason why I asked the question, because I'm not much of a reader anymore, but I do listen to audiobooks. Like I'm on drives to Milwaukee all the time now. I got 2 hours just to sit there and do nothing. So what am I going to do? Listen to podcasts, listen to sermons, listen to audiobooks, listen to the Bible. And I'd rather be educated and become a better version of myself through that windshield time. Otherwise it's just wasted.
Yeah. Yep. And everyone's like, you can make sales calls, but not really.
I don't like doing it. I had to yesterday. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah. But if you're going to take the time, but sometimes it's also okay to just do the other part of prayer that's not talking, and just shut everything off and listen. Pretty interesting to see what comes up there too.